Hey team, this is Luke at Crusader Machining. Today, we're gonna get a little bit down and dirty. We are gonna cover something that in the world of CNC lathes, we call a necessary evil. Cut-offs, cutting off. Now, to the untrained eye, it might seem like, hey Luke, cutting off, what's the big deal? It's just cutting off. And I'm here to tell you firsthand, and a lot of people I know with a similar experience, cutting off can be either your worst treat or your favorite enemy. What do I mean by that? I know what you're thinking. Every lathe that you run in a production shop with a bar feed, with a sub spindle, you have a cutoff or a parting tool. It is such a mission critical operation. If your cutoff fails, i.e. exhibit number 1, if your cutoff fails, but I mean catastrophic failure, I don't mean tool wear. If you have a catastrophic failure with your cutoff, and say you have a sub spindle machine, your part's not transferring, number 1. Number 2, that part is scrapped. Number 3, in the worst case scenario that I haven't seen often, but I have seen before, you can have damage to the machine. So what we're going to cover in this video today, the do's and don'ts with cutting off, what is cutting off, and how to prevent any headaches that might come up. Now I got a quick couple videos here I'm going to show you of me writing a couple little programs of parting off something just so you can see the tool in action. Let's get to it. All right, we're back. Now that we saw that fantastic cutting off operations, that was the material in that, the smaller diameter was 52-100 and the larger diameter was A36 steel. Both of them, neither one of them are really hard. 52-100 is technically high carbon, but it's it can be a little bit dicey to work with. Not my favorite. I prefer 12-15. So cutting off is basically when you use a cutoff blade or a cutoff tool or a parting tool to separate your finished part from your raw stock on your bar. Like I said in the previous section, it is necessary. Every production lathe has a cutoff tool. The only ones that don't in a lathe would be like a chucker job, or if you're loading one part at a time or whatever. Aside from that, you need a cutoff. On our machines here, every one of them has one. We use them all day, every day on all of our machines. Now, the reason a cutoff can be challenging is, as you saw in that video, you got your bar and the cutoff tool is moving down. Once it first starts to engage, you have no problem. That chip evacuates, no problem. But as soon as you have that channel and your cutoff tool in that channel, it makes it very difficult for the chip to get out. So we have to manage the chip well. You can see I talk about that in some other videos I made. You need to manage the chip. Breaking the chip into a little curly is ideal. If you can't do that, you need to modify your feeds to make sure that that chip will fly out of the way. Ideally, break it if you can. And that is, the way that we do that is optimizing our feed rate. Second thing that's super important on that is you need to have coolant. If you're cutting off one part dry, it's fine. If you're gonna run a production shop, you need to have coolant. Direct that coolant in a certain way so it's hitting just under the blade. You don't want it coming over here, although if you were to come from the top or from the side, it might have a little bit of wetness in there or coolant factors or whatever that might be. Ideally, you want it to shoot right at the blade. So some of the problems that can happen when you're cutting off is, like I said, you can have catastrophic failure. We want to avoid that. Monitor your tool. Make sure you're getting good tool life. If you're not getting good tool life, adjust your speeds and feeds accordingly based on the recommendation from the tool manufacturer and what you're noticing for your expected and anticipated and desired tool life in your shop for your application. Reasons that you would get that failure would be the chip is building up in there and you're actually cutting up over the chip again. You're cutting on that same chip, it's wrapping in that channel. Another thing that could happen is you could have a cutoff that's too thin. And if your cutoff that's too thin, like on a blade style like this, and you're overhanging way more than you need to, it's gonna have a tendency to wanna walk. Then as you're cutting in, it's gonna wanna do this, and it'll snake its way down. That is what I call, or what my Grammy used to call, a recipe for disaster. We want to avoid that. You want to make sure that you're holding on just as much as you need to cover half of the bar diameter. So if you got a 2-inch bar, you don't need your cutoff to stick out 2 inches. You need to stick it out about 1 inch or a little bit past so you can get through, but you still have all that meat that you're holding on to. The ones that I like to use are this style. This is technically more of like a groove turn, but I use them for a cutoff, a 3mm wide blade. Now the 3mm versus a 2 or a 1, I am sacrificing a little bit more material, but I have that rigidity behind me. Sorry about that. The camera cut out for whatever reason, maybe the bad weather, but we're back. So the biggest cutoff that I've ever used is a 4mm. That's when I was cutting off like a 3 1/8 inch bar, all the way from 3 1/8 down to X0. So make sure that you're using a tool width that's rigid enough, but not too wide so you're not sacrificing your part, your scrap expense. So if you have a part that, say you run a little washers at 100 thousandths overall length, you don't want to use a cutoff that's 4mm. That's 4 parts worth of scrap or something like that. 2 parts worth of scrap, whatever. Math has never been my strong suit. But you want to make sure that your insert width is wide enough to give you rigidity, but not too wide that you're using too much scrap. So when I'm using a cutoff, and so those are a couple of examples what would happen to cause failure. In addition, poor coolant flow, like I talked about previously. Make sure your coolant flow is good, your tool is as rigid as possible, and your cutoff width is ideal for your application. So when I'm setting up a cutoff on this preferred method, even on this stick tool style, I like to have in my tool block as rigid as I can. You don't want to stick out here, and it's obvious, but for some of the people that might be learning, you want to have it in as rigid as possible. The way that the geometry on these tools work, you're basically neutral here. There's no angle to it. You can get them, I think, 6-degree angle, but I use them all neutral. So right as you're cutting in and it's hitting that bar, it's all that force at one time. So you want to be as rigid as possible. I like to keep my surface footage a little bit on the low side, my surface footage and my feed rate a little bit on the low side as I am setting up a job. Once I get that job up and running, I can get a little bit more aggressive once I notice my tool life, my chips, my surface finish, whatever indicators I might have that tell me that cutoff tool is working. That's what I like to do. Usually on a little bit of harder material, and I know I might get some pushback from this. Harder, I mean like high nickel stainlesses. I'll start my surface footage around 175 or 200. I'll keep my feed between 2 to 4. I want to see how that chip develops. I want to know, I want to know that my tool is going to perform well on a little bit of a lower surface footage, and then I could kick it up. I want to see the chips, I want to see the chip color, the chip formation, I want to see the insert. So that's about it with cutoff. There's not much to it. It doesn't have as many, angles and turns that you could take with like drilling. A lot of different types of drills. Cutting off is, pick the tool manufacturer, determine the chip breaker and the grade you want. Make sure that you determine whether or not you have a blade style or a stick tool style. Keep it as rigid as you can. Make sure you got good coolant flow underneath the tool, and you should be good to go. Don't get real aggressive with your speeds and feeds at first. Now keep in mind that comment is for people that are learning. People that are a little bit more experienced will probably breeze right by this because you guys have your cutoff down pat. Same thing like we do here. I know exactly what to run that surface footage and feed rate at per material, per machine. And a lot of times that deviates from the manufacturer. What they might want, I might run a little bit slower, a little bit faster based on what works for us that day. But in conclusion, cutting off is critical. It's simple, but it is important. If that cutoff fails, you're not transferring to the sub. Your part is scrap. You don't want to damage your machine. You know, machine, aside from your operator safety, you know, machine safety, making sure our babies are taken care of, that's number one. You know, so make sure that you're a little bit more conservative on your speed and feed. Rock and roll, as always, have fun. This is Luke with Crusader Machining signing out. You can find me at Instagram at Crusader Machining. Of course, at YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. Leave a comment on what you think. What type of cutoff do you use? What is it that you like to see? Signing out.